Hello everyone, welcome back for another reading of The Legend of Zelda Hyrule Historia. And we'll continue right where we left off, and we're going to finish The Legend of the Goddesses and the Hero. Let me see if I got that title right of this section of the chronology. Yes, The Legend of the Goddesses and the Hero is correct. Just to clarify, there are different sections of the chronology of Hyrule's section of this book. Yes, there's sections within this section. Very good. Bullet points, if you will, and we're about to finish the first one. I'm basically going to finish this one, and then we're going to end off on the decline of the hero and the last hero. So we'll be going to the part of the timeline where Ganondorf won after the events of Ocarina of Time. But first, the Forest Era. We're going to continue with the Forest Era, and the game's focused around this is the Minish Cap. Okay, let's begin. On page 80, by the way, just so you know. The Minish Village and the Four Elements. Feeling responsible for Vaidi's actions, however you pronounce it. That's how I'm going to pronounce it. Please, someone correct me if I'm wrong. Ezlo teamed up with Link and set off for the portal to the Minish village. The Minish were so tiny that they could easily fit into the palm of a grown human's hand. When Link entered the portal, he shrank down to their size and gained entry to the Minish village in the woods. In order to break the curse on Zelda, Link needed to repair the Picori blade and use the sacred power. There were 4 elements hidden around the world that Link needed to obtain and then place on the pedestal in the elemental sanctuary to reduce the sacred power of the blade. Very good. The 4 elements. The 4 elements are crystalline forms of the spiritual energy that exists in the world: earth, fire, water, and wind. In order for Link to collect all 4 elements, he must utilize specific items to accomplish his goals, some of which are similar to the ones used by heroes of the past. They're probably referencing the Skyward Sword and the Skyward Sword. Let me check I'm gonna go back to the diagram of the thing really quick. Yeah, there's only one game, according to the timeline, before the Minish Cap was just the Skyward Sword. So this is the second game in the timeline, literally. I thought maybe there was something in between. Vaidi's tactics. Still on a quest to obtain the Light Force, Vaidi took control of the King of Hyrule and had him order his soldiers to search for the Light Force. Vaidi learned from the legend of the Wind Tribe that when the 4 elements were collected and placed in the Elemental Sanctuary, a holy sword would be born, and the path to the Light Force would open. Knowing that Link was collecting all 4 elements, Vaidi waited until time when he could take the elements from Link. And that's what bad guys tend to do in The Legend of Zelda. And all that. The Wind Tribe. The Wind Tribe originally lived on the land. After mastering the wind, they moved their palace up into the sky. They live even higher than the clouds, and the winds carry the news of everything to them. The land that they left behind became known as the Wind Ruins. They can ride the wind to travel back and forth between the sky and the land. I wonder if that's related to Skyloft. Come to think of it, in The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, they have a sky temple level. You gotta get a cannon to shoot you up there, though. I wonder if that's... oh, yeah. I'll probably read it later, but, you know, just some thoughts for now. The Land of the Minish. The Picori are a tribe of tiny people. Link becomes the size of a Minish, and, oh, I get it, Minish, I get it, and enters their realm. A land most people would not be able to locate, being a very tiny, has its disadvantages for Link. Weak goblins and enormous enemies alike stand in the way of his quest. A small puddle seems like a massive lake. For a tiny person, the dangers are many. Yeah, I haven't played the Minish Cap. I really should. Looks good. Sounds good. Sounds good. Sounds like your classic Zelda game, you know. The Elemental Sanctuary. After collecting all 4 elements, Link placed them on the sacred pedestal. The Bikori blade became infused with the sacred power and transformed into the Force Sword, which gave the wielder the ability to split into 4 identical copies of himself. Simultaneously, a door beyond the pedestal opened, revealing the legend that the Light Force dwelled within Princess Zelda, generation after generation. Very cool. I love the Force Sword adventures. Those are really fun games. They're designed very well, and it's just a good time. I have the anniversary edition on my 3DS. Me and my friends were playing some co-op to beat it because you can't do it alone. That's how they get you with co-op games. You can't complete it alone. You have to have someone with you. But at the end of the day, they were right to make you because it's a lot of fun, and it doesn't take away from the point of the game. You know, it's a co-op game. Most of them are anyway. Besides, I like the idea of Link with multiplayer. It's always been cool. It would have been hard to and before 4 Swords, it would have been hard to execute. You wouldn't really know what to do, but they figured it out, and they did a good job. The Elemental Sanctuary. The Elemental Sanctuary is a sacred place the adults are unable to see. Interesting. Human adults are unable to see. The entrance is located within the garden of Hyrule Castle. It holds the pedestal of the 4 elements and contains the secret of the Light Force. Vaidi's Wrath. After Vaidi followed Link and learned about the Light Force, he took Princess Zelda to the roof of the castle and little by little extracted what he could of the Light Force from her body in order to transform himself. Link stopped the ritual, but Vaidi was still able to use the power of the Light Force to transform into Vaidi's Wrath. Using the power of the Force Sword, Link destroys Vaidi's Wrath and broke the curses on Princess Zelda and Ezlo. The Mage's Cap. The battle between Link and Vaidi's Wrath brought Hyrule Castle down around them. Ezlo gave the Mage Cap to Princess Zelda, who, with the small amount of light force left within her, made a wish to restore Hyrule to its original condition. Not long after the door to the Minish Cap began to close, but before it shut, Ezlo presented Link with a green cap and returned to the Minish village. That's very nice, very nice. The Mage Cap. The Mage's Cap was originally a gift for the humans made by the Minish named Ezlo. It grants the wish of its wearer. The stronger the heart of the wearer, the greater the power of the cap it exhibits. Makes a lot of sense, though. Okay, we're still in the Force era, and this first part is based around 4 Swords / 4 Swords Adventures, which I was just talking about. Vaidi, the Winded Mage. Vaidi, who has no memory of his life as a Bikori, goes on a mindless rampage. With the ability to manipulate the wind, Vaidi calls himself the Wind Mage and takes over the Palace of Winds. I'm sorry, I can't let this go. I really have a feeling I'm pronouncing this wrong, and I just make it a big deal of this because I know what it's like to go nuts when someone mispronounces something. But you gotta understand, I've only seen this name in text, so I don't know how to pronounce it. I've never really, and no one really talks about these games very often. Everyone's usually talking about Ganondorf, or even the other one from Skyward Sword. I forgot his name already. No, what's his name? Oh, by the way, Ganondorf from the last episode, I forgot what Ganondorf's species. He's a Gerudo. That's his species. Gerudos are all women. I guess I'll talk about this while I'm looking for the guy's name. They're all women. Girahim, that's his name. They're all women tribe, and every 100 years a male is born, and that's usually Ganondorf. The resurrection of the Wind Mage. For generations, Princess Zelda and her descendants looked after the Force Sword, but a day came when the seal began to weaken. When Princess Zelda went to check on the seal, it broke. Vaidi escaped his prison, kidnapped Zelda, and took her into the Palace of Winds. The kidnapped Princess Zelda. Vaidi kidnaps Princess Zelda to make her his bride in the commemoration of his resurrection. Not to obtain the Light Force. That's interesting. But yeah, that's interesting. First, you have the Goddess Sword that becomes the Master Sword, and you have different swords like all the time. most of the time a Master Sword, but you have the Picori Sword. Now that became the Force Sword, and I wonder what happened to the Force Sword. I hope they let you know in here. Maybe it is the Master Sword. I don't know. All right, we're now in the era where Four Swords comes in. The power of the Four Sword. Link witnessed the resurrection of the evil Vidi. Shortly after, a fairy appeared to Link and instructed him to draw the legendary Four Sword. As he did, he split into four. The Great Fairy said that they could help Link to get to the Palace of Winds. But first he had to prove his courage by defeating dangerous foes and collecting rupees. Gotta collect them rupees. Gotta buy some bombs to bomb some Dodongos. Okay, the four heroes. After the Links collected the rupees from the three regions protected by the three great fairies and earned the titles of Little Eggs, Brave Heroes, and finally the Greatest of Heroes. I know, I have a lot of experience. This game I played a lot. They do that. The Greatest of Heroes. It's a lot of fun. Great game. Yeah. The Links were given the keys to the Palace of Winds, now known as Vidi's Palace. After earning the keys, Vidi's palace appeared, and the four Links set off to confront the Wind Mage. Three Great Fairies. The Great Fairy of the Forest protects the region known as the Sea of Trees. The Great Fairy of the Ice protects the Talus Cave, and the Great Fairy of Flame protects Death Mountain. Makes sense. The Palace of Wind reappears. The four Links confronted Vidi in the depths of the palace. Using their combined power, the four Links attacked Vidi, defeated him, and rescued Princess Zelda. Vidi was again sealed into the Four Sword, and the Four Sword was returned to its proper place in the pedestal. With the power of the Four Sword once again dormant, the four Links merged back into a single body. Princess Zelda and the people of Hyrule again kept a strict watch over the seal. The regions protected by the Great Fairies. The regions protected by the Great Fairies are the dense forest area called the Sea of Trees, the frozen Talus Cave, and the volcanic Death Mountain. It's kind of redundant. Some of these counts are a little redundant, but in all fairness, they do have a distinction between the two. Like for this example, yes, they told you which ones the fairies, the land of fairies show. They just show an image of it too. This one they talk more about the Great Fairies. I don't know. There's a distinction, but I think it's kind of redundant. I mean, you gotta fill it up somehow, I guess. You know, I'll let it. Usually I let it slide, but I don't know. I mean, it's a good book. It's really good, so I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. Hyrule. Okay, we are now in the era of the Hero of Time. This is the one everyone's familiar with, that's for sure. And the Hyrule Kingdom in Chaos. Hyrule engulfed by the flames of war and the kingdom united. Now keep in mind, this is the first Hyrule, which was established by the first Zelda, who is the goddess Hylia, who is the resurrection of the goddess Hylia, and they created the kingdom of Hyrule when the humans came back to the surface world. And this is pretty much the end of it, which gets split into three separate timelines and three separate forms, three separate outcomes of Hyrule. One of which being destroyed, one of which being saved, and one of which being threatened. Hyrule, engulfed by the fires of war, and the kingdom united. The war in Hyrule raged unabated for countless eras. In the midst of confusion, a lone woman fled the fires of war, babe in arms, and escaped to the Forbidden Forest. She entrusted her child to the spirit of the Kokiri Forest, the Deku Tree. The Deku Tree, sensing the infant's destiny was intertwined with Hyrule's future, took the child in. Once the child's mother had breathed her last, the babe was raised as a Kokiri. This boy would later become Link, the hero. The fighting was eventually quelled by the King of Hyrule, and the entire land was unified under his kingdom. That's what I always like. Link has a lot of modesty, a lot of humbleness, which is good for courage, and this game, I think Ocarina of Time does the best, because Link, he's always this pushed around kid, and he doesn't know what he's doing at first, but he always is courageous enough to take on every action everything he can do to save the day, and even people, no matter how many people put him down and make fun of him, he always saves them in the end. And this one I think does it the best, because as someone who is adopted into a Kokiri lifestyle, every Kokiri boy gets a fairy to follow them around, but he doesn't. and he felt very left out because he doesn't understand he's a Hylian, or a human, if you will. They keep calling them humans, but a lot of them, that was always an argument whether the people of Hyrule were Hylian or human. I mean, they have the pointy ears. That's where people make their argument. I guess it doesn't really matter. But yeah, Navi ends up fighting Link, and she ends up helping him on his adventure. So he does get a fairy, but she had to leave in the end, and that's where Majora's Mask comes in, where he goes looking for her. Forbidden Forest. This is the name given to the Kokiri Forest and the Lost Woods by the humans living outside its leafy borders. Adults lost among the trees turn into Stalfos, and while children turn into Skull Kids, both are doomed to wander with. That's where they come from. I always wondered that. I always wondered where they came from, Skull Kids and Stalfoses. That's cool. A brief tranquility. The scars of war faded from Hyrule, and it seemed that at last the world was at peace. Ganondorf, leader of the Gerudo, see, told you he's Gerudo. The people of the desert once again swore a fealty to the king of Hyrule. However, Ganondorf's true aim was the Triforce, said to lie somewhere within the kingdom. Seeking the 3 spiritual stones necessary to open the gateway to the sacred realm, he carried out his plots in secret in every corner of the land. They have the map of the era. Hyrule Castle is located within Hyrule Field, which lies in the center of the kingdom. To the northeast is Death Mountain. It erupts continuously. It's an active volcano. To the east, it's where the Gorons live. To the east of the forest, to the south, Lake Hylia. That's where the Zoras live. To the west is the Gerudo Desert. That's where the Gerudos live, obviously. The terrain doesn't differ much from the era of the sky. It's pretty much just... So, remember, this is the first Hyrule, before it's split into 3 timelines. Okay, we are now in the era of the Hero of Time, the Child era, and we're still and this still circulates on Ocarina of Time. It's going to the whole time. Let's see. Those chosen by the Triforce, the prophetic dream of the divine princess. When she was little, Princess Zelda of Hyrule was chosen by the gods to wield divine power. One day, the destiny of Hyrule was revealed to the princess in a dream. Ganondorf sought the Triforce that rested in the sacred realm and was liable to destroy the world. Princess Zelda knew the truth, but her father, the king of Hyrule, didn't believe what the prophecy had foretold, which is weird because usually the king's more sharp than that. But I guess after so much time of peace, you don't really care anymore. You start trusting more. You should trust people, but a good leader should always keep their guard up and always be prepared. Never seek war. It's like Odin said in Thor. A wise king doesn't seek war; he prepares for war. I'm paraphrasing. I don't know exactly what the words are. I believe that's it. I like that little phrase. Princess Zelda and her companion Impa took it upon themselves to keep a close eye on Ganondorf during his visit to the castle. Prophecy in a dream. From the farthest reaches of the desert came a man who shrouded the kingdom of Hyrule beneath dark clouds. Out of the darkness, the light of salvation appeared in the shape of a boy led by a fairy. Impa, Princess Zelda's assistant, one of the last surviving members of the Sheikah tribe, who have served the royal family since ancient times. Yes, Sheikahs are very important in the original Skyloft timeline that splits into 3. This is the end of the first timeline. This is the end of it. The fairy. Navi the fairy was sent by the Deku Tree to serve Link as Link's guide. She partners with Link, aiding him in his adventures. The boy led by the fairy. In the midst of these events, Princess Zelda received a visitor from the Kokiri Forest. A young boy led by a fairy. Link had obtained one of the 3 spiritual stones that served as a key to opening the sacred realm. Princess Zelda, a strong believer in the dream's prophecy, realized that she needed to locate the sacred realm before Ganondorf did, and used the power of the Triforce to bring about his downfall. She entrusted Link with the task of finding the 2 remaining spiritual stones. Link's travels in the Kokiri tribe. Each member of the Kokiri tribe possesses his or her own fairy partner. Though they never grow up, it is said that they will die upon leaving the forest. That's a reference to Peter Pan, obviously, because Link's design is based on him. And it's interesting to see how everyone in the Kokiri tribe wears the same clothing as Link. That's probably an homage to the Knights Academy. It makes me think: are the boys of the Kokiri tribe people of Skyloft who broke away? You know, maybe I don't know. Maybe there were humans who decided to stay in the ground. I don't know. It's something to think about. Link's travels in the Kokiri tribe. I already read that. Each member, blah 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 blah. Because Link was Hylian by birth, he did not have his own fairy. However, one fateful day, Link set out on his journey. The Deku Tree sent Navi, the fairy, to his side. The green clothes Link wear are characteristics of the Kokiri, like I said. Okay, we're still in the child era, hero time thing. Ganondorf's rebellion. When Link collected the 3 spiritual stones, Ganondorf launched an attack on Hyrule Castle. His extreme measure was an attempt to steal the Ocarina of Time, a treasure of the Sacred Realm under the protection of the royal family. With the help of Impa, Princess Zelda escaped from the castle. Spotting Link, the princess tossed him the Ocarina of Time, praying that he would protect the Triforce. The Ocarina of Time. Protected by the royal family, the Ocarina of Time is one of the keys to the Sacred Realm. It can play songs capable of manipulating both time and space. Its blue-white radiance brings to mind the time shift stones found in the eras of antiquity. So people believe. So basically, they're hinting that the Ocarina of Time was made of the time shift stones that were used in the Skyward Sword, which is very brilliant. The door of time is opened. Link restored the 3 spiritual stones to their places in the Temple of Time, and opened the door of time by playing the ocarina. The legendary Master Sword that lay behind the door served as the final key to the Sacred Realm. Ganondorf, apprised of Link's movements, invaded the Sacred Realm to lay his hands on the Triforce. However, only the Triforce of Power remained, as the forces of wisdom and courage have scattered, seeking those with the ability to wield them. Link and Zelda. Yeah, that was mentioned before. They said when they described the Triforce, only one with all 3 attributes can wield the Triforce. And since Ganondorf only is unbalanced and only has power, Zelda is unbalanced and only has wisdom, and Link is unbalanced and only has courage, the three will split. But Link eventually, in his adventures, always gains the wisdom and power, and he usually can get to wield the Triforce, which he uses to save the day, or Zelda will wield the Triforce to save the day. At least in a classic Zelda game. A lot of them don't do it that way. A lot of them just protect the Triforce, or they put them together and they leave them alone, or something like that. Sometimes the Triforce isn't even involved. Sometimes. The Triforce, if you want a little fact about it, was going to be an item in the game Ocarina of Time. I forgot what it was supposed to do, but it was supposed to be an item. And yeah, supposed to be an item. The Master Sword, anyway. A sacred blade that cannot be touched by the wicked. It harbors the power to eradicate evil. The sword can only be donned by the one who is worthy of the title Hero of Time. Link proves his power, wisdom, and courage by obtaining the 3 spiritual stones, which is his journey, like I said. The 3 spiritual stones. There are 3 spiritual stones, each representing one of the 3 elements: forest, fire, and water. Notice wind's not there. I guess that's because of Vitae. The first is the Kokiri's Emerald, guarded by the Deku Tree. The second is the Goron's Ruby, guarded by the Goron tribe. Third is the Zora's Sapphire, guarded by the Zora. In order to obtain the stones, Ganondorf placed a curse on the Deku Tree and Jabu Jabu, the guardian deities of the forest and water, and threatened the Goron tribe. The shape of each spiritual stone resembles its tribe symbol. Okay. Dark clouds begin to enshroud Hyrule. The Sacred Realm is a mirror that reflects the hearts of those who set foot in it. An evil heart will return the realm into living hell. A pure heart will transform it into paradise. Using the Triforce of Power, Ganondorf became the Demon King. The Sacred Realm was distorted into a nightmarish world where demons ran amok Hyrule Castle and Castletown fell under Ganondorf's control, and the survivors fled into Kakiru Village. Cool. Kakiru Village, a sacred ancestral village founded by the Sheikah tribe. Oh, okay. It was the Sheikah tribe place. Princess Zelda's attendant Impa was raised there. The graveyard behind the village contains the royal family's tomb, where the Hyrule's blood-stained history of ceaseless conflict is written. The young hero begins his sleep. Meanwhile, despite the fact that Link was worthy of drawing the Master Sword, his youthful body made him unfit to serve as the hero of time. Accordingly, the Master Sword sealed Link within the sacred realm. Within the Temple of Light, the cornerstone of the sacred realm, the ancient sage Rauru watched over Link in a small area, the chamber called the Chamber of Sages. Link, guarded by Rauru, slept for 7 long years. Princess Zelda had no choice but to wait for the seal on Link to be broken. In order to escape the Demon King's pursuit, she went into hiding by disguising herself as a boy of the Sheikah tribe and adopted the name Sheik. How creative. That's not in the book. That's my comment. Rauru. The sage who created the Temple of Time is in eras long past. Before Link drew the Master Sword, Rauru took on the form of an unusual bird named Kaipora Gaibora. Watching over the boy, he progressed in his measures. A lot of people made theories that Rauru was the bird, and other people made it was the king of Hyrule. But it looks like the ones who said Rauru was Kaipora Gaibora was right. I didn't even know he had a name. Let's see. Hylian in this era. The Hylian syllabary is characterized by wedge-like shapes. It is possible to decipher the Hylian characters using the chart right by matching them to their Japanese equivalents. That's really fascinating. Asai meaning Kakiru Mara, meaning Kakiru village in Japanese. Aha. Interesting. Alright, we're now in the adult era of the Hero of Time. The hero awakens. Wielding the Master Sword in his left hand. He's left-handed. Link is left-handed, people. I'm left-handed. Just because that makes Link cool. Except for the Wii games, they made him right-handed to, because most people are right-handed, and then they gotta know which one to hold the Wii Wiimote with. But I have a feeling in the HD Zelda game they'll make him left-handed again. In Twilight Princess, the GameCube version is a mirror reflection of the Wii version, because Link is left-handed in the GameCube version still. The hero awakens. Link returned as an adult. When Princess Zelda played her harp, she imparted her wisdom to Link. She instructed the hero to break the curse on each of the 5 temples and awaken the sages within. Sheik's harp. Playing her harp, Princess Zelda teaches Link songs that guide him to the temples. The Hylian shield. An indestructible shield decorated with the same design that was favored in the era of the goddess Hylia. It is strong enough to withstand fire and cannot be broken. The actions of the Hero of Time. Link, the Hero of Time, spurred his horse across the land and traveled through time, breaking each temple's curse. Retrieving medallions from the awakened sages, he gradually added their power to his own, the sages' medallions. Medallions imbued with the power of the awakened sages. With each medallion he obtains, the Hero of Time attains greater power. Link's beloved horse Epona and Lon Lon Ranch. In Hyrule Field sits Lon Lon Ranch. It is run its lazy owner Talon, his daughter Malon, who enjoys singing, and their ranch hand Ingo. Talon and Ingo are clear Mario and Luigi references. They look just like them, just more in a Hylian way. I'll show you the picture in the bottom of the page when I finish reading these 2 pages. Ever since Link was young, he has a special affinity with the horse called Epona. In the adult era, Ingo falls under the control of an evil mind and forcibly takes over the ranch from its owners. However, Link manages to win Epona from his successful wager. Good. The 6 sages are restored. Rauru was a sage of light, who continued his vigil over the sacred realm since the immemorial. Saria of the Kokiri tribe was the sage of the forest. Darunia of the Goron tribe was the sage of fire. Princess Ruto of the Zora tribe was the sage of water. Impa, Zelda's attendant, was the Sage of Shadow, and Nabooru, the chivalrous thief, was the Sage of Spirit. At last, all 6 have been restored. Saria, the Forest Sage, the only Kokiri who really understands Link, she sees the truth, realizing that he's not a member of the Kokiri tribe. Saria used to sit in the depths of the forest playing her ocarina. Her special spot was actually the entrance to the Forest Temple. Darunia, the Fire Sage, the leader of the Goron tribe, he has a fiery personality. Impressed by Link's courage, he names his son after the hero. And some people say there's a reference to that in Majora's Mask. I don't know how fast Goron's age. I never really believed it. It probably depends on how fast Goron's age, because there is a scene you can do in Majora's Mask where you're in a hotel and you get your own room. Like, oh, you're Link. Oh yeah, you have a room. And we're like, we have a room? And it turned out it was a Goron that wanted to stay there, and his name was Link. So yeah, some people say that's him. If Goron's aged that fast, I'll believe it, but that was supposed to be a couple of years after Ocarina of Time. Wasn't that long after, and he was a full-grown adult by then. Ruto, the Water Sage. Princess of the Zora tribe, she was aided by Link in the child era and Sheik in the adult era, eventually awakening as a sage. Nabooru, the Spirit Sage. A chivalrous thief of the Gerudo tribe, because she opposes Ganondorf. She is brainwashed by the surrogate mothers, that pair called Twin Rora, which is a boss in the Legend Ocarina of Time. Reunion with Princess Zelda. Princess Zelda was the leader of the sages and the 7th sage. She bore the Triforce of Wisdom in her hand. Once the right moment had arrived, Sheik revealed his true identity to Link, confessing that he was actually Princess Zelda. The princess intended to draw Ganondorf into the abyss, whose seal had been rent open by the 6 sages. She would then use her own power to close it off from the outside world. In order to do this, however, Princess Zelda would need the might of Link the hero. Gorons, the people of fire, and Zoras, the people of water. The Goron tribe, who guarded the Spirit Stone of Fire, is a group of rock eaters that make their home on Death Mountain. In this era, their leader is Darunia. The Zora tribe, who protect the spiritual stone of water, live in Zora's domain, located at the headwaters of Zora River. The tribe was unified by a ruler known as King Zora. The King Link meets in the era known as Zora Diban the 16th. His daughter is Princess Ruto, one of the sages. So yeah, let me show you what I mean. Here they are, of what I was talking about before. The Talon and Ingo of the Lon Lon Ranch. If you can see, they are clearly a Mario and Luigi reference. Here are the sages. I might as well show you them too. They're all the sages. There they are. Well, at least 5 of them. 2 of them are missing here. Let me see. Oh yeah, the Great Deku Tree, but he died in the Ocarina of Time, right? No, I'm sorry. Rauru, but we read about him already, so there's no point in showing his picture. And who else is missing from this? Oh yeah, and Impa, but again, we already read about her, so there's no point of showing her again. Okay, well, I had a good time. Pretty good. I knew these episodes get longer, but I really want to get to the next part of the first branch of the timeline, which is a couple pages away. Okay, still the adult era. The decisive battle with Ganondorf. Ganondorf, who had placed Link under surveillance, kidnapped Princess Zelda and brought her to his castle. He attempted to lure Link there also, seeking a final piece of the Triforce. The Triforce of Power possessed by Ganondorf, the Triforce of Wisdom borne by Princess Zelda, and a Triforce of Courage that dwelt within Link. Once the 3 pieces were united, they would resonate together. At last, the time had come to battle with Ganondorf. Yeah. Alright. Oh yeah, and just we're putting a little cliff note. If the hero of time is defeated, a different timeline will unfold. Turn to page 92, which will next time, by the way. Transforming into Demon King Ganon. Link was victorious in his one-on-one battle with Ganondorf. However, the thief used his last of his power to transform into a demonic evil beast. The Demon King Ganon cornered Link and Princess Zelda. Ganon's castle. The castle that once belonged to Hyrule's royal family is occupied by Ganondorf, who transforms into a sinister fortress. Though it is protected by a complex barrier, Link, wielding the power of the sages, advances to the highest floor when Ganondorf lies in wait. The Demon King Ganon. Though Ganon is also a nickname for Ganondorf, here it refers to the beast-like form adopted by the thief following his transformation. The Demon King resembles a giant boar, and Ganon is Zelda 1's boss, as well as Zelda 2. He's just Ganon. He's not Ganondorf. He's just permanently transformed into a beast in the hero's defeated timeline. The Gerudo Tribe, Power of the Desert. A group of thieves that inhabit the Gerudo Desert, the tribe bears only female children, who occasionally wander into Hyrule to search for boyfriends. That's it. That's it. The customs decree that a male child born of the tribe once every 100 years will be crowned their king. Ganondorf was raised by Kotaki and Korn, a pair of twin witches called Twin Rova. Oh, they raised Ganondorf, okay. Twin Rova worshipped Ganondorf as the Demon King. It will be said that the sisters, who had lived for 400 years, ruled the tribe from behind the scenes. Alright, they show a picture of the Gerudo alphabet, which is cool. Okay, so okay, that's how they do it, because there's always a running joke how Gerudos, had offspring. That's how they do it. It's kind of like the Amazon. Obviously they're based on the Amazon women. In Greek mythology, they are a island of only women, and you'd wonder how they get offspring. But that does explain in Greek mythology. They have a boat over to Greece to mate with their men in order to have children, and according to Greek mythology, any boy born from them would be killed. Maybe they do. Link the hero is victorious. Following a fierce battle, Princess Zelda entrapped Ganon with waves of light, and Link delivered the finishing blow. The 6 sages completed the task by imprisoning the beast in a sealed void that would have been rent in the sacred realm. Ganondorf is sealed away. Ganon, having lost the battle, is sealed away along with the Triforce of Power. Though he has regained his human form, Ganondorf's intense animosity toward Princess Zelda, Link, and all the sages will bring disaster in eras to come. Hyrule at peace. A large crowd gathers at Lon Lon Ranch to celebrate. In Cohere Forest, the Deku Tree sprouts takes root, and the world begins to return to a state of purity. Yeah, there's a new Deku Tree. But in the defeat, there is no Deku Sprout. That explains Zelda 1's first level of a dead tree. When you go inside, that's the dead Deku Tree that died in Ocarina of Time. Peace returns to Hyrule. Thus, the curtain fell on the battle for Hyrule. 7 years later, Princess Zelda had mistakenly allowed Ganondorf to enter the Sacred Realm in her attempts to maintain control over the Holy Domain. In order to right her wrongs, she played the ocarina, returning Link to his original era, allowing him to regain the 7 years that had passed while he remained sealed. Peace had been restored to the land of Hyrule, but in return marked the parting of Link and Princess Zelda. A critical tale across the ancient battle. The life of the time-traveling hero caused a chain of history to branch off into multiple directions. This is very important for the next few segments of this segment of the book we're going over. From this point onward, the chronology of Hyrule diverges dramatically. This marks the end of the Legend of the Gods and the Hero of Time, which is the original timeline that branched off into 3. Just making that clear. For the timeline that unfolds following the Hero of Time's return to the Child Era, please turn to page 110. So the timeline that unfolds during the Hero of Time's departure from the Adult Era, please return to page 122. We will not be doing that. We'll be turning to page 92 for when the Hero of Time is defeated. That's going to be interesting. A lot of people are interested in that one more than others, I've noticed. As am I, to be honest. Because who ever heard of a Hero of Time being defeated? And we'll find that next time, guys. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.